Thank you everyone for joining our webinar today. I'm going to kind of go over the new multilateral planning tool here in GeoGraphix 2024.1. This tool works here in GeoAtlas. So I'm just going to kind of jump right into it and run through a couple of workflow examples of working with the multilateral tool. Look at some different kind of configurations that we can make that you couldn't really quite make with the old field planner tool. As well as just run through a couple of the options in the way that we're working with the wells in this particular tool. So I have here open in GeoAtlas just a simple land grid layer and a well layer, and I'm going to build a multilateral plan, kind of a couple of these section blocks that I've got I'm zoomed into here on the map. So we'll go ahead and start by creating our first multilateral plan. So there's an icon now on the same toolbar where the field planner tool was. It is now the multilateral planner. So I can just click that there. And then any plan that I want to work with, I can build those within here. Now I can also build these within multiple different AOIs, different project areas. You can just choose the AOI that you want to work in. I'm kind of zoomed down into my block and field area here. I'm just going to go ahead and create a new multilateral plan here. So we'll just call this multi-plan, and then click OK. And so I'll get a little dialog box here, the multilateral well editor, and this is where I can go and draw whatever configurations that I want to for this particular plan that I want to create. Now, the way this tool works is essentially you're going through here and you're drawing these plans exactly the way that you want. Again, in the previous planner tool, you would give it some dimensions, give it a layout, and it would go and just kind of automatically draw your well sticks in there. And you can add some target points along from there. But in this one, it's completely going to be through freehand drawing of whatever configuration you want to draw on the map here. Like I said, I'll kind of draw just a couple of examples here. Let's say I want to kind of have two laterals kind of going opposite directions from each other. We'll go east-west here. And then I want to go from there and stack some laterals, take those laterals and stack them on top of each other. I can do that with this particular tool. So I'll simply go through here and I'll draw one configuration kind of going off here to the west. Double click to where I want that to go. And so essentially I'm drawing here my heel to bottom hole location. I'll see the 4 points that I created there when drawing that wellbore: heel, 1, 2, and bottom hole. Any of those values I can go through here, and if I happen to know exactly, lengths, XY positions, anything else like that, I'm able to go through here and edit any of that information as I create those points. Now I'm going to do another one kind of go in the opposite direction. Again, a couple of clicks, double click to finish it. And so now I have these two configurations of these two laterals drawn in here. Now, these are being treated basically as two individual wells. But let's say I want these to kind of stem from the same surface location and then just go off in these opposite directions. From here, I want to draw my surface hole location. So on the top toolbar here, a series of icons, surface hole location icon here, where I simply click and drag off of one of my heel points to the location of where I want that surface hole to be. So let's put it right there in the middle of the section. Click and drag off the other one and drop it on the same surface location there. And now I have my two laterals are now part of one configuration as opposed to two individual configurations. So stemming off the same surface hole, coming down, and then drawing out to the east and to the west. Now from here for this configuration, each lateral can have its own target surface. So let's say for these two, I'll draw these down into my Bakken structure. So I'll choose that there for both these surfaces. And then I want to kind of, again, I mentioned before, I want to create some stacks for these as well. I can do that. So we'll go under, say, lateral 2 here, right click, add stack lateral. So what that's done is it's created a copy of this lateral right on top of this, called it lateral 3. And now I can say for lateral 3, let's have that one go down to a little bit deeper down to my Red River structure, a little bit deeper down. And then do a similar type thing for lateral 1. And again, as I click on these laterals, it'll highlight for the map to show me which one that is. That's what I want. So let's go ahead and again right click, add stack lateral, and then I can go and check the configuration. Lateral 4. That one will also send down to the Red River structure. Okay. So now essentially I've got 4 wells, 4 laterals coming off the same surface location, 2 stacked laterals going in either direction, east and west here, that I can kind of create copies for. Now, from these laterals, I'm also able to go and edit individual points on here. Little edit pencil icon here. I can click and drag a point off one of those laterals, move it to a new position, and I'll see there's the stacked lateral underneath there. So I can kind of edit and move and add additional target points through here as needed. There's also undo and redo buttons for any of these edits that you do. If I didn't mean to move that point, I can come here and say undo last edit, and it will undo that move that I made. Let's say I want to move that entire lateral stick itself. Instead of having these stacked, I want them to be kind of side by side, off center from each other. I can click and drag one of those there and move it to the position that I want it to be. And then again, if I need to undo that last edit. Okay, so that's kind of my first configuration here. If I want to kind of build a kind of a herringbone here, I'm going to draw a lateral, say through section 2 here. I'll go from the west to the east here. Again, just going to click along here where I want this this well to go. And so I've drawn kind of my initial lateral for this particular well. Now off of here, I can then draw my side tracks. And these can be, you know, like I said, little herringbones here, just kind of coming off that particular lateral, you know, going in whatever direction I want to go from there. And these are treated again as these little side tracks coming off of the main lateral. Again, the targets of these side tracks are going to be the same as my main lateral, so I can only set the target layer for that main lateral. Again, I'll go through here and again keep using that Bakken structure here as my target. So those laterals and those side tracks are going to be kind of coming off that. Towards the end here, once I get ready to go and save some of these wells in here, basically each of these side tracks is essentially treated as an individual well. So this is config B here, the one that I've just drawn is essentially 4 wells, the main lateral plus the 3 side tracks coming off of it. And so we'll see what that looks like once we put this into well base. Okay. Let's say I want to kind of build some laterals here that have just multiple side tracks coming off of them, as well as side tracks off those side tracks. I can do that as well. You know, I can come through here and I'll just draw another lateral here, config C, and then I can go through here and say, okay, let's get a side track going off that. And double click to finish that, and then let's get a side track going off the side track. And then a side track going off the side track. And so on and so on. And I can keep adding more and more side tracks off that main side track, or go back to the main lateral, draw another side track going the other direction. So you get a little bit more flexibility on the plans that you want to generate by, again, just drawing the wells in here in the direction that you need. As many different kind of configurations and plans that you want there. It's all just up to whatever drawing, whatever imagination you kind of have there, or whatever you're trying to build. Again, we just simply go through there, draw the laterals, give it some target information. You know, where is this information going to be coming from? What's its targets? You know, the surface it's trying to drill down into. And then I can go back and make any edits to any of those as needed. I can even delete points. If there's a point I didn't mean to delete, I can delete an entire segment if I didn't mean to draw that in there. But yeah, everything freely created by the user in whatever configuration that they want to do there. And I can even make copies of these configurations as well. For instance, this first one that I did here, these 2 stacked laterals, if I want to move that to another position, so I keep that same configuration, but let's put multiple of them in that particular area. I can move that around wherever I want that information to go. I think I moved 2 of these on top of each other here. That's fine. And then again, each one of those, it basically copies the target layer from those other ones that I can go through here and edit those to give them their own target layers for each of those other configurations that I've added. again, these laterals that I've drawn in here, and I've got the targets for each of these. I can also give it some information on the offsets and kickoff point for each of those laterals. So how far down from the surface am I coming? I hit the Bakken surface, and that's where it starts to drill out. Let's say I want to come 25 feet underneath that, and also give it a kickoff point within here. Let's say about 1,000 feet for that particular lateral. And again, kind of do that for each individual lateral within there. How far down from the surface am I coming, and what's my kickoff depth going to be for each stick? Okay, so all that just editable, creatable by the user, however they want to build that, configure that. And once you've drawn all these different laterals, these different configurations, then we can go ahead and start to generate our geoprocs off them as well. So in here, a couple things I can do with these. Let's go back just to that first configuration that we did, config A here. I've got my target layers. I'll just put in a couple quick offsets here. So I added that for one of my copies, not this one. I'll just do, oops, kind of one for the Red River and then one for the Bakken here. Once you kind of fill out the information, I can do a couple things with that. First one is I can edit the well. When I save this into the database, it's just going to be called config A with lateral 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can call that something else. This can be like planned well 1 or something. Whatever you want that well ID to be once you save it into the database, as well as maybe give it a name, the datum elevation, whatever depth that's going to be at. And then if you need to, again, exactly where you want the surface location to be, I can come in here and hand enter that value as well. I want this to be at exactly this XY location. Just be able to type that value in there. That's editing the well. Again, I can generate a report, my geoprogs, of whichever one of these configurations or multiple configurations that I want to output into that report. So I can go through there and toggle everything on, and I can choose which layers I want to get that geoprognosis from. So let's say the Bakken structure. Let's go in there for say like the Morrison, Lodgepole, Muddy. Let's get my Nisku and my Red River here. So any of these surfaces that these wells cross, I'll be able to generate some geoprog notes for them, and then just output wherever I want that that file to go. So I'll dump it out here to the webinar folder. Any files you've already got will be overwritten. And so it tells you generated report for all these multilateral configurations here that I've drawn. I can go out to the desktop and kind of find that that particular file. This is planned well 1. It gives you date of that particular report, as well as all the information on its geoprognosis, surface kickoff heel points, target points, surface points, anything else that it's going to be kind of coming across there. I can then share that information with anybody that might need it. And again, when all that's said and done and I've built out these wells the way that I want, I'm ready to go ahead and save these wells into the database, have them appear in Wellbase, and then kind of utilize them within there. I'll just save, again, this first one that I've been kind of working with, planned well 1. Any wells that already have that name can be overwritten. And click OK, and just saying, hey, this information is going to be overwritten if there's any copies of these already in there. It tells you how many wells were added or updated based on the number of configurations that you've chosen there. Again, so I go back into Wellbase and go and check those wells out. Here's planned well 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 for the different laterals that I've got from that particular configuration, and the information stored there in the proposed survey. So it's based just kind of on the points that I've given it, and then I can go through here and calculate out my proposed surveys, make sure that they all appear and work there. Little wellbore button there showing you what that particular well is going to look like, given the dimensions that you've given it whenever you planned it out. And back in GeoAtlas, I can come back over here and update my well spots layer now. Let's hide my configuration. Let's go ahead and update that. Whoops. I can make one for this particular AOI. Create a well-based layer here. And then we'll see where these what these wells look like here. And there they are, drawn there on the map based on the proposed survey information that I calculated, that I planned from my particular multi-plan. Okay. And yeah, so again, that's kind of the tool there. Again, key things we're looking at there is just the ability to go through and draw your sticks the way that you want them to look, as well as be able to build kind of more complex patterns, more complex um, plans off of just what the original planner tool was doing, as well as expanding our previous fishbone planner that we had in there, so we can add these multi side tracks, multilaterals coming off the main wells there. So yeah, I think with that, thank you guys for checking out our webinar today.